top 5 features of the Nikon Z50 Mark II. That's what we're covering in this video, and I'm also going to touch on something which nobody else is yet spoke about. So we're going to be covering the top 5 features of the Nikon Z50 Mark II. I'm going to give you my honest opinion. I've had this camera long enough now. I've had it out. I've given it a good run about. I know exactly what the best features are of this camera. So if you're somebody who's looking to upgrade from the Nikon Z50 Mark I, the original, to the Mark II, then stick around. This video will be for you. And also, I'm going to be touching on something which I wanted in the original Nikon Z50. And they actually have it in the Z50 Mark II, and nobody is actually talking about it. But we'll get to that at the end once I went through my top 5 features. So to kick it off is, without a doubt, the Expeed 7 processor in this camera. I think that alone is worth an upgrade from the Z50 Mark II. Now, what that allows you to do is so much more with this small camera. Better AF performance, so many different options in the AF. The video capabilities of this camera, the Expeed 7 processor just brings so much more to this little powerhouse. And I've got a feeling in the future we will be seeing some nice little updates to this camera. Now, the second best feature of the Nikon Z50 Mark II has to be the ergonomics. Now, the original Z50, it was nice to hold, but this feels really substantial in the hand. And what I found is that when you're out shooting wildlife with the longer lenses, I've been using the 2-500 on this camera, it makes a huge difference having that more substantial grip at the side. Now, the bodies aren't hugely bigger, but the way they've made this grip feel better in the hand just makes it more balanced and more comfortable when you're shooting with the longer lenses. So without a doubt, the ergonomics and obviously all of the button placement still being the same as most of the other Nikon Z cameras is just brilliant. So it enables me to jump from the Nikon Z8 back onto the Z50, and everything's kind of familiar, everything's there, it works really well, and that grip just feels very substantial in the hand and very comfortable. So the third best feature of the Nikon Z50 Mark II has to be the pre-capture. Now, I know some of you will be saying, well, it's not RAW. Well, I've got a sneaky feeling in the future, with this having the Expeed 7 processor in, we will see a firmware update which will allow us to shoot RAW in the pre-capture mode. I do believe that that is possible with this processor. I do believe we will see that in a future firmware update at some point. I can see that happening. I can see Nikon giving the people who are buying the Z system, buying into this system, they will be giving them that in the future, and that's something I'm really looking forward to. But without the RAW shooting, even the JPEGs, even having that ability to capture an image a second before you actually take the shot is really, really good. It allows you to capture those images which you would have missed without a doubt. So the pre-capture has become one of my favourite features of this camera. Like I said, although it is in JPEG at the moment, I do believe at some point in the future we will see a firmware update allowing us to capture RAW in the pre-capture. Now, my fourth feature of the Nikon Z50 has to be the viewfinder, and how much more brighter the viewfinder is. It makes a lovely difference when you shoot. It's just a better experience all round. It's just bright, it's nice to look through, it's comfortable to look through, and especially if you're shooting all day, I haven't found I'm getting too much fatigue. That extra brightness just makes it that much better experience when using this little powerhouse of a camera. Now, my fifth top feature of the Nikon Z50 Mark II has to be the internal 10-bit 4K 60, up to 4K 60 recording on this little camera. To think that you can actually record 10-bit internally on this little camera, this little powerhouse, capturing all those beautiful colours, allowing you a bit more flexibility within the colour grading of the videos. It just makes it so nice to use and so nice to have in the bag. Colours that the video produces, there's just something special. And now having that extra, the 10-bit rather than the 8-bit recording, just makes a big difference as well when you're colour grading in post-production. It really is a great feature to have on any camera, and I'm so happy they've incorporated it in the Z50 Mark II. So the big feature that hasn't been spoke about much by many of the other YouTubers out there, for me, has to be, it's a game changer in terms of, if I was wanting to upgrade from the Z50, this would have been the reason I would have upgraded from the Z50. Now, subject tracking is definitely my favourite way to shoot, my favourite way to use the Z system. I use the same setup on the Z8 as I do the Z50, and I've used the same setup on the Z6 II as I have the Z50 and the Z8. I love setting the function button to recall subject tracking, so I can almost use it like a single point autofocus and just allow me to reframe instantly no matter what I want to take a photograph of. Now, when the Z50 came out, the original Z50, the downside of the subject tracking is that you could only actually use that in full area AF. So really, you were limited to having it on full area AF, whether it be on face, eye detect, or animal detect, and then that was the only time you could actually recall the subject tracking button. But now, no matter what area AF mode you're in on the Z50 Mark II, you can recall the subject tracking, and that was one of the key features I wanted updated on the Z50 Mark II. It is brilliant. So having the ability to be able to recall subject tracking no matter what AF area mode you're in is a game changer. It really is. So if you're picking just a small square or a larger square, or even having the full area AF on the camera, you can now recall subject tracking with a touch of a button, and it's a fantastic way to shoot. So whatever situation you're in, whether you're shooting portraits, wildlife, and if there's something you just want to quickly grab, subject tracking, press that button, and you can recall it instantly no matter what area AF area mode you are in. And also as well, compared to the Z50 original, the subject tracking box is a lot smaller, therefore a lot more accurate. It just makes a big difference in the way you shoot. And for me, the Z system has to be the best system I've used to date for being able to shoot like that. The subject tracking I absolutely love, and it's something that I will continue to use. Like I say, I have all of the other Z cameras that I own all set up in the same way. I can now recall subject tracking no matter what AF area mode I am in. If you have not used it before, I would highly recommend you check it out. I'll pop a link to a card above. You can go and check that out, where I show you how I actually set up the subject tracking. A really great feature, and one that I'm so pleased that they updated on the Mark II version, because I was desperately wanting it upgraded from the Z50. So there you go. That's my top 5 features of the Nikon Z50 Mark II. I have more videos coming this way on this powerhouse of a camera, so if you want to stay tuned for them, consider subscribing to the channel, and I will see you all in the next one. See you then.